Mr. Ruiz Zafon. It's very nice to have you here tonight. And tonight you're going to read from The Prince of Mist, your first book published in 1993. And although it is a novel for younger people, 90% of your audience, I bet you, will be adults loving The Shadow of the Wind. Is it more fun to read in front of adults or kids?
It's usually interesting for me to hear from readers of all ages. Usually I just write for people who like to read. And I rarely ask for a driving license or for their age or check their age. Say, well, you should be in another room or I just write for people who like to read. I don't care if they're young or older or their sex or their race or their beliefs. I just don't care. If they believe in books and they are interested in books. So for me, it's equally interesting. I think sometimes, however, younger audiences are even more stimulating. I think because they're more sincere. I think that as we grow older, as readers, we tend to absorb a lot of prejudices or snobberies or things about literature, and we start trying to say the things that we are supposed to say, or that people tell us that we should be thinking like that, and we say, yes, this is good, this is... And I think younger people are not like that yet. And they're more sincere. They tell you just what they feel. And I think they're a great audience in that sense. And they're a great audience for a writer because you can learn a lot from them because they tell you the truth. They tell you what they think, what they feel. I think this is the first novel that I published back in my mid-20s. And the reason it took so long for it to be translated, because for many years my first 3-4 books were trapped in a legal battle, in a dispute between publishers. So because of this legal Kafkian stuff, all these books took a long time. But for me, I think it's been interesting to revisit these books and in little ways trying to find yourself again when you were young, when you were starting into this. And it's not that strange. I think that many ways when I look back, what I found is that books tend to be some kind of time capsule of your life.
In an article I read about you, you were described as, and now I quote, a nice and friendly guy with a gloomy imagination.
Really? That's very nice. Sometimes people write very nasty things about me. This is a nice thing. I like that.
When reading your books, catchwords like anxiety, unrealness, seduction, evil, gloom and darkness, and scarlet red always come to my mind. Am I right to describe these as a central theme or central topics of your work?
What I try to write is about human nature. I try to explore things that are in human nature. And I think what you'll find in the human heart are conflicting emotions. And there are positive emotions, there are negative emotions. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of desire, sometimes there's hatred, sometimes there's love. There are many different things. And I try to explore these themes, which are the classic themes of literature. It's not that I invented them. I'm just revisiting what is being done many times. And I try to bring something new. And I try to bring something new in the way it's executed, in the way it's staged, in the way it's put up there. And yes, many of these elements appear because I think that when I'm using all these things you're referring to, I think all these things can be very useful as symbols, as some kind of atavic elements in storytelling that allow you to tell and stories in a more intense way and to reach into different things. And what I'm trying to do is bring elements that will provide the reader with a more intense reading experience, that will allow the reader to dig inside their own minds and find things that may be buried there. And I think that's interesting to create that kind of fiction that allows you to get inside yourself and finding things in there that maybe are there but you are not aware or you don't want to look at them.
Your novels are a mixture of historic novel, gothic novel, crime novel and romantic love story, added with a big shot of fairy tale elements. Does this have its origin in the preferred books of your own childhood?
As most children, what you first read is what is available. And what I would read is what was available at home. And there were a number of books. There were not that many books at home. And that's what I was trying to read. And then eventually I became interested in many things. I remember as a kid I would read a lot of crime fiction and science fiction or whatever was it, and a lot of 19th century novels or classics or whatever was there. I was interested in them all. I never put things in different departments. To me, there's good writing and bad writing, and I'm interested in good writing. It doesn't matter where it comes from. And as a child, I was like that. I was very suspicious of all these impositions, and I just wanted to explore and find out about things. And I was interested in literature, I was interested in films, I was interested in many things. And I tried to learn from them all. And I think eventually, as I was saying, you tend, or you're trying to replicate those things that impress you as a child. And to me, I was impressed by many things. I was impressed by 19th century novels, but by classic films. I was impressed by Orson Welles or by The Godfather. And you see a lot of those things and say, oh my God, this is really cool. This is something great. I would like to learn to see how it's done, how they did this, because I want to learn to do it as well and try to use that in my own work. And I've been doing that since then. And so I have a lot of different influences. I think everything you read, everything you see influences you in a way because you analyze it, you try to find what's behind it and try to see how it works. And that's what interests me, how things work, so then I can use that to make my own stories work better.